Wow, beautiful, God, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Very nice. Let's see. I made the 12th December, 12th, 11th December. Well, gave Kumar example of his three god sisters, all three abused, belittled, or overpowered by husbands when each of them extremely smart, competent, well-behaved, responsible, worldly, wise, clever, good homemakers, mothers and all. He says, well, our generation we were taught, without abuse you're not a man. New generation is otherwise. Well, from that I know for sure he's very conscious. Comes a time in life when you see young girls so much respected, loved, independent, whole in soul. With your sons, you question yourself, when will I take a stand when these men scare you, break you, and break your confidence, put doubts in you? You have to by now lost your sons too. You cannot count on no one but yourself. You got to put faith firm in higher power within, without you call in unity. See all in unity for God's energy to flow. Taking a stand is a first step, but ultimately taking a stand for something is what's required. Taking something you will stand for against and turn it around. Take something you stand against and turn it around. If you hate rape, stand for equal rights for women. If you believe in war, why not fight for peace instead? Want to stop the destruction of your environment on our own amusement? Stand up for land preservation and responsible use of resources. Don't waste your time fighting the symptom. Use your energy to support a real solution to the underlying problem. Find the most important thing you do every day and tell people about it. Having a hard time figuring out just what to take a stand for. Look at everything you do in a day and find the most important thing and do more of that. Then tell people about it. Tell everybody you know. Tell anyone that will listen. That's a good place to start. I waste more time each day than I would like to admit, but eventually I sit down and write, and I say writing is the most important thing I can do every single day. Don't do anything important with you did right now. Take a stand for doing important things. Go from there. Don't beat around the bush. Standing for something, setting aside your fear of ridicule and saying what you really believe. Don't lead to it. Don't lead into it. Don't beat around the bush. Say it, and mean it. State it as if it's a fact, even if it isn't. If you want it to become a fact, you have to treat it like one. And don't say you're sorry when someone disagrees. Change just one person. That's just happy. Feel good idea that you can change the world all by yourself. It's a lie, you can't, but you can. You and one other person can. You don't have to convince the whole world to change, just one other person. If you can change just one person, then that one person can change one other person. This only has to happen a few dozen times before the entire world is a whole new place. To start a movement and let that movement do its job. Take a stand every day. It isn't something you get to do once and then sit back and realize. Find time every single day to take a stand for something you believe in. Wake up early. Taking a stand for something is changing the world is going to take work. You have get to save number of hours each day, and that everyone else does. Get up early and get a head start. Go to bed late rather than staying up to watch returns of the cancelled sitcoms. Stay up late to plan out how you're going to get a head start. When you wake up early tomorrow, be efficient where you can, but don't let efficiency rule your life. Focus on doing something awesome at whatever cost. Pay attention to what works and what doesn't, but most of all, just work really, really hard. Do that enough and the world will listen. Build a platform. Spreading your message is a lot easier when you don't have to repeat yourself. If you want to make your message stronger, deeper, and more impactful, find a way to save it so that people can always find it while you continue to work on something new. Write a blog, record a podcast, shoot a video, better yet, do all of these things and do them all at once, then do them again. When the room is quiet, shout. When you have a captivated audience, that's one that wants to hear what you have to say, let them have it. Shout at the top of your lungs if you have to. Don't let anyone think for 1 second that you don't eat, sleep, and breathe your purpose. This will change people. That's a good thing. When the room is loud, whisper. When it feels that the noise is so loud that you could never shout about it, don't try. Instead, whisper. People will always want the opposite of whatever the rest of the world is giving them. So give them that. In a world of cacophonous noise, Speak softly and to intrigue once everyone listening, then start shouting. Make a scene. Don't be afraid to be ridiculous. Make a scene. Flail your arms, race like a clown. Get notices, then deliver the goods. Take your message on the road. You can publish your blog, podcast, and YouTube channel every day and reach a lot of people, but you won't get to everyone. If you really want to make a difference, take a message on the road. Go to the people who don't read blogs. Go to the people who don't even have internet. If your message is important, don't let your medium hold you down. Your blog can't always do the job. Take it upon yourself to talk to the people that need to hear your message in the way that they can actually use it. Create art. If you have something important to stand for, then you probably feel pretty strongly about it. Make sure you always convey that. Anyone can write a report, not everyone can write an essay. You have the ability to change people with your voice and everything you do. Be an artist, paint a masterpiece by telling your story in a way that people can't ignore. What are you going to take a stand for? How are you going to change the world? Today, sticks and stones may break. How are you going to change the world today? Sticks and stones may break the bones, but the words can never hurt me. It seems that these days the opposite is true. Although many people think that bullying is beating people up, usually the worst kind of bullies attack with your words. Bullies that cause physical damage are much more likely to be noticed in God, whereas verbal bullies can lurk in the halls using their words to hurt someone to the core and remain completely undetected by onlookers. I believe that verbal bullies destroy their victims from the inside out, daring to shade the self-esteem of innocent kids. What a wonderful world. I see trees of green red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and the clouds of white, the bright bliss day, the dark and scared night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They are really, what a wonderful world. I see trees of green red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think of myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, the clouds of white, the bright bliss day, the dark, scared and sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They had really sing, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll never know. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yeah, emotional abuse codes. Your abusive partner doesn't have a problem with his anger, he has a problem with your anger. One of the basic human rights he takes away from you is the right to be angry with him. No matter how badly he treats you, he believes that your voice shouldn't rise and your blood shouldn't boil. The privilege of rage is reserved for him alone when your anger does jump out of you. As will happen to any abused woman, from time to time he is likely to try to jam it back down your throat as quickly as he can. Then he uses your anger against you to prove that what an irrational person you are. Abuse can make you feel straitjacketed. You may develop physical and emotional reactions to swallowing your energy, anger such as depression, nightmares, emotional numbing, or eating and sleeping problems, which your partner may use as excuse to belittle you further and make you feel crazy. The only person that deserves this special place in your life is someone that never made you feel like you were an option into years. Their scars from mental cruelty can be as deep and long-lasting as wounds from the punches or slams, but are often not as obvious. In fact, even among women who have experienced violence from the partner, half of more report that the man's emotional abuse is what is causing them the greatest harm. So often survivors have had the experience denied, trivialized, or distorted. Writing is an important avenue for healing because it gives you the opportunity to define your own reality. You can say, this did happen to me, it was that bad. It was the fault and responsibility of the other, I was and am innocent. The courage to heal. An abuser can seem emotionally needy. You can get caught in the trap of catering to him, trying to fill the bottomless pit. But he is not so much needy as entitled. So no matter how much you give him, it will never be enough. He will just keep coming up with more demands because he believes his needs are your responsibility until you feel drained down to nothing. What he can do. so very true. Gosh. My dad had limitations. That's what my good-hearted mom always told us. He had limitation, but he meant no harm. It was kind of her to say that he did do harm. Trauma is personal. It does not disappear if it is not validated. When it is ignored or invalidated, the silent screams continue internally, heard only by the one held captive. When someone enters the pain and hears the screams, healing can begin. The woman moves from living with abusive man that there are no single answers. Friends say he's mean, but she knows many ways in which he has been good to her. Friends say he treats you that way because he can get away with it. I would never let someone treat me that way, but she knows that the times when she puts her foot down the most firmly, he responds by becoming his angriest and most intimidating. When she stands up to him, he makes her pay for it. Sooner or later, friends say leave him, but she knows it won't be that easy. He will promise to change. He'll get friends and relatives to feel sorry for him and pressure her to give him another chance. He will get severely depressed, causing her to worry whether he'll be alright. And depending on what style of the abuser he is, she may know that she will become dangerous when she tries to leave him. She may even be concerned that he will try to take her children away from her, as some abusers do. With emotional abuse, the insults and insinuations, criticism, accusation slowly eat away a victim's self-esteem until he or she is incapable of judging a situation realistically. He or she may begin to believe that there is something wrong with them, or even fear that they are losing their mind. They have become so beaten down emotionally that they blame themselves for abuse. It is not that the bruises on the body hurt, it is the wounds of the heart that scars the mind. In a healthy relationship, vulnerability is wonderful. It leads to increased intimacy and closer bonds. With a healthy person realizes that he or she hurt you, they feel remorse and they make amends. It's safe to be honest. In an abusive system, vulnerability is dangerous. It's considered a weakness, which acts as an invitation for more mistreatment. Abusive people feel a surge of power when they discover a weakness. They exploited it, using it to gain more power. Crying or complaining confirms that they have poked you in the right spot. Some scars don't hurt. Some scars enough. Some scars rid you of the capacity to feel anything ever again. Nothing was inevitable. She did not choose this way. It was her fate. It had been decided since before time began. It had been decided before she began. Nothing could be done. There was no point in trying. It was way too late. The inevitability of nothing was totally supreme, overriding everything. No way out, no way through. She could only accept the unacceptable. She could only endure the unendurable. Nothing was wrong. Nothing was wrong, and the wrongness of this awesome nothing seeped from her. Some people, only a few saw it. Some people, only a few felt it. Some people, only a few recognized it, and in recognizing it for what it was, raged against it. Through the nothingness, these few reached out for her. She could not reach back. Through the nothingness, these few fought for her. She could not fight back for herself. Through the nothingness, that you cared. These few cared for her. She could not care for herself. Through the nothingness, these few spoke out for her, shattering the frozen silence over and over again. She could not speak out for herself. I hope this may give you some comfort for people who need it. They are good, caring people, whether outside or within yourself, if need be. And you do deserve to be cared for and supported as much as anyone else does. From nothing, out of the short stories in the Fight Rabbit Fight. Fight Rabbit Fight. Perfectionism is the unparalleled defense of emotionally abundant children. The existential unattainability of perfection saves the child from giving up unless or until a scant success forces him to retreat into the depression of the dissociative disorder or launch him hyperactively into the incipient conduct disorder. Perfectionism also provides a sense of the meaning or the direction for the powerless and the unsupported child. In the guise of the self-control, striving to be perfect offers Samuel Lecrum of the sense of control. Self-control is also safer to pursue because a parents typically reserve their severe punishment for children who are vocal about their intelligence. She looked at him like it physically hurt her not to speak, and yet she stayed silent. Lies don't end relationships, the truth does. I hope you see what you have done to me. The scorn and tone formal laugh meant aim and shoot childish devastating daggers that penetrate beyond target to pierce the heart of the offspring. This is particularly true of those who love too much and those who tend to lose themselves in their relationships. At times, a beloved becomes distorted by our feelings of insecurity and of a fear of abandonment. This is the often case with those who become overly controlling and overly smothering of their partner. Others become emotionally abusive because of the fear of intimacy. The only people that can't handle the truth are those who suffer as so much anxiety that they live in denial in order to prevent their illusion from being destroyed and feeling more anxiety. You are too sensitive victim of sexual abuse are told over and over by those whose reality depends on being insensitive. Most adults who happen to the victim role cringe when anyone tells them that they are sensitive. In fact, sensitivity is a lovely trait and wanted to be cherished in any human being. There might have been prettier women in the room, but when she turned those babies on, flattened her eyelashes, it was hers. It had taken me nearly 15 years to extinguish that dear light. Now, when she looks at me, it's a vacuum. I had read so much from her over the course of our marriage that every glance. I'm the girl who never gets angry and never wants anything, and that's why my family is still alive. Women make up to the recovery process to fix the relationship, but what they end up learning is how to rescue and restore themselves. How many believe, and you may too, that they need to speak and act differently so their partner behaves more favorably towards them. If your partner blames you for what you made him do to you, over time you will end up blaming yourself. Your task is to realize that you are not responsible for his abusive behavior. Women tend to work hard to avoid their hurts or to stop their partners from abusing them, but they aren't successful. You cannot make your partner abuse you, and you can't make him not abuse you. These are his choices and his alone. The task is to refocus on yourself and your recovery. Try to come to a place where you accept your own imperfections, where it is okay to be less than perfect because you are less than perfect. It is a human condition and it's okay. Get pissed because you deserve more than this. Abuse, emotional abuse is a gateway to all abuse. Get out. Imagine a man who one day cries and gets fed, and the next day cries and goes hungry. One day smiles and is kissed and hugged, the next day smiles and is ignorant. This is what psychologists call preoccupied or unresolved attachment with a primary caregiver, usually the mother. There was love 1 minute and disdain the next. Affection was given in the abundance for no reason and then taken away without cause. The child has no ability to predict or influence the behavior of the parent. The narcissist loves the child only as an extension of herself at first and then as a loyal subject. So she will tend to the child only when it makes her feel good. In spite of everything she did that she shouldn't have done, and everything she did do, that she should have something that felt like love was in her, and she would take it out at times like this and show it to us and make us hunger for more, all of us each in our own way. 10 facts about abusive relationship, what I wish I had known. It's not always loud, it's not always obvious. The poison doesn't always hit you like a gunshot. Sometimes it seeps in quickly, quietly, slowly. Sometimes you don't even know if you ever there until months later. Love is not draining, love is not tiring. This is how it is supposed to be. Apologies are like band-aids when what you really need is stitches. They don't actually fix anything long term. Soon enough you'll be bleeding again, but they will never give you what you really need. This is not your fault. You didn't turn this into this, them into this. This is how they are. Or they have always been. You can't blame yourself. There will be less good days than bad days, but the good days will be so amazing that it will feel like everything is better than it actually is. Your mind is playing tricks on itself, and your heart is trying to convince itself that it made the right choice. They do not love you. They cannot love you. This is not love. You're not wrong for wanting to run, so do it. Listen to what your gut is telling you. You will let people think back again and again before you realize that they only change long enough for you to let them in one more time. It's okay to be selfish and leave. There is never a crime in putting yourself first. When they tell you otherwise, don't believe them. Don't let them tear you down. They want to knock you off your feet so that they can keep you on the ground. After, you will look back on this regretting all the chances given, all the time wasted. You will think about what you will know now and what you will do differently if given the chance. A part of you will say that you will never have been given them the time of the day, but another part of you, a larger one, will say that even after everything, you wouldn't have changed a thing, and as much as it will bother you, eventually you'll realize that is a part of that is right. Because as much as it hurts, as much as you wish you would never felt that pain, it was taught you something. It has helped you grow. They brought you something that you would never have gotten from somebody else. At the end of the day, you will accept that even now, you wouldn't go about it differently at all. About the expression, hurt people, hurt people. Hurt people are not going to stop hurting other people until they receive the memo that it is wrong, or if there are actual consequences for the behavior. Feeling sorry for them and understanding what they can't come, where they came from, is not helping the cycle of the abuse. The responsibility to end the child sexual abuse is yours and mine. Every time a man yells, I am 7 years old again, and he's packing that suitcase once more, picking me up by the neck, teaching me obedience, to be soft like a belly of a fish exposed to a knife. Transform your pain child sexual abuse into strength to defend children who cannot voice up. Some individuals have what can be considered to be an abusive personality, although they can be more charming at times or something managed to put on a false front in public when it is absolutely necessary. The basic personalities cannot rise by a need to dominate and control others' tendency. Children do not lie about sexual abuse we speak of now. No more silent survivors of sexual abuse have a voice. Add to your self-esteem by coming out with the open and speaking out when you went through. Emotional incest is yet another form of the emotional abuse. Emotional incest commonly involves a reversal of the parent-child roles. When this occurs, the mother and father parentifies the child who is then manipulated to gratify the unmet childhood needs of the parent. This typically manifests as a parent mobbing the child for the unconditional love that she should herself be giving. This is my life, and I'm the expert of my life, nobody else's. My story can unchain someone else's prison. Wow. You possess the right to celebrate your victory, your healing, your recovery. The pain is too much to bear. She weeps with them as she grinds her teeth with the grin. She fought to relive and come alive. I can identify with your shame and ache because the shared past of the childhood abuse and this unforgiveness. If I can do this, you definitely can too. Survivors can choose to heal. Are extraordinary people. Whole night hagged with panic sparking, tears in those big wide eyes. I can't change the past abuse, but I can change the impact it has on me today. Life is beautiful. It is what you make out of it. Abuse never portrays you. Let's take away your emphasis from the awkward task of altering your past and move towards focusing more on the achievable purpose of the changing our world today, tomorrow, and beyond. Our own story madness is either a victim's journey or a victim lament. The decision is in your hand, exceptional. I did right by raising my voice. I was not damaged goods. I'm not a product of the past. I'm whole. I'm free because I've fought for freedom. I'm a survivor. Through my willpower and strength, I can make a difference to the world because I'm a survivor. You are more than survivors, more than victors. A victorious person knows to own his failure. He's aware how to bring out good, even in the worst form of failures. Wage a war against child abuse. No more a victim. I'm a survivor. Let there be no excuse for child sexual abuse. I survived it, and so can you. My pain and my experience are unique. I'm unique. I'm a survivor. I have the power to change my physical and emotional experience. It is my right to take back control of my life because I'm a survivor. I have options. I can do it what I want to be. I'm who I'm today due to my childhood abuse. I'm a survivor. The victorious person continues to learn in all given circumstances. I'm not damaged goods. I'm not a product of my past, I'm whole. A victim never stops. If he had a failure, he will he will proceed to find out how to achieve his dream again. I took my real strength to be able to face childhood sexual abuse. I'm stronger than my reasonings because I'm a survivor. You don't need to continue being a victim forever. You pull through it. You are not just a survivor, but a victim. Do things one day at a time. Discover how to convey it in the right way. You are a survivor at times. You may not yet experience it, but the fact is that the worst of the cruelest part for your life is over. My abuse will always part of my memories, my past, my history, but will no longer be a repetition by life span. Life is really unpredictable no matter what you serve or how hard you try, you still cannot predict your future. Experience your healing experience in your life. Heal at your own pace. Come face to face with yourself and know that you have finally come home where you must dwell. Healing has its own processes to develop it because it is its own form. Each person recovers in their own space. Healing does not occur with a formula. It's important to determine your path towards healing, the one that works best for you. Someone else's path may not work for you. You may never be able to keep up with someone else's step. Either you may end up being far behind or far gone. Pick your path, not someone else's. You may not succeed at first or not always, but you'll always find ways that don't contribute towards your journey, and you will know what not to take the road the next time. That is when I knew that my past can never change, but my correlation with it can definitely change. There are times when with my life when I had no strength and left for one more day. I alone can heal myself. I alone am responsible for it. I alone have the authority and control over my healing. I'm answerable to my healing, and I alone can do it. I had victory and knew I was going to be fine no matter what was adding up with my direction. This forever kind of freedom is amazing. The way you may have both good and bad days on your step healing ride. Welcome to my world of dreams where I live by the rivers and the streams as tranquility flows by and no fear is seen in the eye. This is the most peaceful place to be, where you will fall in love with the word me as you learn to the art of being free. Draw your life back on track so you can live free of just cookies. You can heal and recover. Every time you strive along the road that you not think, you will learn to dabble and move on a different level. You can thrive on healing yourself, transform your power. It has on you now. Let it go and move one specific aside when your expectations are not implied. I'm a survivor, and this fact is rooted inside the deepest foundation of my reality, one of the most impacts that shaped me into who I am now. Past shapes your future, yet it does not dictate, determines, speaks, not controls your future. You have the power to determine your future, identify your views and feelings are effective, and that you should not beat yourself up for holding them. Remember that you should complete this goal because you really love them and not because you want to impress anyone else. Lay out your own goals and do things that make you happy. Do not let anger become a huge part of your life, nor let it become your life. My personal impression is that forgiveness is essential for recovery. It loses the power the abusers have over the survivor and allows them to heal. I have had the freedom and the peace of forgiving my abuser. It helped me to stop and say I can no longer do it all. Once I stopped running from the past and intentionally leaned into the memories of to examine them, I wasn't haunted by the past anymore, running away.